Welcome back to another Q&A. I hope you guys have been enjoying these as much as I have. Today we have another fascinating question to explore that one of you guys asked. And so without further ado, let's dive in. Next question. Before the fall of man in the Bible, did the animals talk with Adam and Eve? Because when the serpent talked with Eve, she had a normal conversation with it. Great question. This is exactly what this channel is for, to discuss these obscure topics. This one I find very fascinating and I've actually explored a long time ago. So in order to do a deep dive on it, I'm going to draw from scripture, apocryphal texts, scientific insight, historical writings, and philosophical thought. In the book of Genesis, when God creates the animals, we are given limited detail about their abilities or the nature of Adam and Eve's interactions with the animals. Of course, aside from the fact that humanity was given dominion over the creatures. Even though the book of Genesis doesn't say much about the abilities of the animals, there is a striking moment that hints at the possibility of animals possessing greater abilities before the fall. The serpent within Eden speaks to Eve successfully and deceives her into eating the forbidden fruit. Now, this would suggest that communication between humans and certain creatures may not have been unusual at the time. So that's one clue within scripture that suggests at one point in human history, animals did communicate with humans, from the fact that Adam and Eve were not surprised to find a talking serpent speaking with them. Like if I went on a hike in the woods and a snake came out of the trees and started talking to me, I wouldn't want to hear what it has to say. I would be absolutely terrified and I would run. Because in our current world, talking serpents or talking animals is not very normal. But at least in the book of Genesis, it was normal enough for Adam and Eve not to freak out. The book of Numbers within the Old Testament shows further evidence at the possibility that animals at one point in history were able to speak to humans. This is known as the account of Balaam's talking donkey, which is found in the book of Numbers, chapter 22, verse 21 through 33, which is a unique biblical account showing God momentarily restoring an animal's ability to speak. In this account, Balaam is a prophet who was summoned by King Balak to curse Israel. As Balaam rides his donkey on the way, an angel of the Lord blocks the path, though only the donkey can see the angel. 3 times the donkey tries to avoid the angel, causing Balaam to beat her. Then God opens the donkey's mouth, restoring its ability to speak, and she speaks, asking Balaam why he's beating her. So the story of Balaam's talking donkey is another clue at the potential possibility of animals being able to speak at one point in history. God grants Balaam's donkey the ability to speak in the same human language as him. And naturally, the donkey is not surprised to see that it can speak. It just turns around and tells Balaam, "Why are you hitting me? What have I done to you?" Now we're going to talk about apocryphal evidence, where it directly states that at one point within the Garden of Eden, all animals spoke in one tongue with Adam and Eve. The Book of Jubilees is an apocryphal writing that was found within the Dead Sea Scrolls and used by the early church. Multiple copies of the Book of Jubilees have been found next to some of the oldest copies of the Book of Genesis. The Book of Jubilees is also known as Lesser Genesis and presents a vivid, detailed portrayal of Eden within chapter 3, where all animals are depicted as rational beings sharing a single language. In this harmonious setting, Adam, Eve, and the creatures of the garden communicated freely, speaking with one tongue in a unified, intelligent dialogue. This is the Book of Jubilees, chapter 3, verse 28. On that day, the mouths of all the animals, the cattle, the birds, everything that walks, and everything that moves about were made incapable of speaking, because all of them used to converse with one another in one language and one tongue. Now, the idea and belief that animals at one point in history were able to speak in one language with humans was actually a pretty common idea within the first century among the believers. Josephus Flavius was a Roman historian that actually wrote about this within his writings during the first century. And here's what he said about talking animals that seems to echo what's written within the Book of Jubilees. This is found in his writings known as the Antiquities of the Jews. But while all the living creatures had one language that time, the serpent, which then lived together with Adam and his wife, showed an envious disposition. So again, Josephus Flavius is showing us evidence that during the first century, this was common knowledge, that they believed at one point in our history, during the Garden of Eden days, animals were able to speak with Adam and Eve. This was not like some weird controversial belief. It was very normal back then. Then we also have the historical writings of Philo of Alexandria, who was a Jewish philosopher who lived during the first century. Within his writings, he states that at one point in ancient history, snakes could speak with a man's voice. This is found within his writings known as On the Creation of the World. It is said that, in olden times, snakes could speak with a man's voice. Now, one final important thought-provoking observation that I want to discuss is the way children are instinctively drawn to stories of talking animals, and how they often try to speak to animals themselves, fully believing they can understand and respond. This innocent behavior might hint at something deeper, a distant echo of a time when such harmony between humanity and creation was real. Now, is it possible that this could be a reflection of our original design, a forgotten unity that we once shared with the natural world? Why do we lose this innate sense of connection as we grow older? And what does that say about what we were truly meant to be? If you want to understand what Adam and Eve were like before the fall, look at the qualities, innocence, and instincts of children. In their purity, children reflect the image of God more clearly than us adults, untouched by the corruption of the world. They truly carry the essence of who we were created to be, before life and sin distorted that image. One of these innate instincts that children have is the desire to talk to animals. Children are instinctively and universally drawn to stories and shows featuring talking animals. From classic fairy tales to modern cartoons, the idea of animals that speak and interact like humans captures their imagination in a powerful way. This instinctive fascination may hint at something deeper than mere fantasy. It could reflect a distant echo of a time when communication with humans and animals was possible. The enduring love for talking animals in children's media could be more than just playful imagination. It might actually be a reflection of a deep collective memory of a time when creation was more connected, and the divide between humans and animals was less pronounced. I hope you guys have enjoyed this third Q&A video. I hope it was fruitful. Please let me know your honest thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. God bless.